Hi, my name is Georgia, and the Anthropocene is a proposed geological epoch which would describe humanity's impact on Earth starting in the 1950s. So, as humans have evolved, so has their impact on Earth increased. The markers of the Anthropocene focus on various human inventions and actions which have created a significant enough impact to affect the Earth and its composition deep into the future. The control of water systems, such as reservoirs, is one of those potential markers. And that is what this video will focus on, reservoirs, and then more specifically, reservoirs in West Hartford, Connecticut. So the question is, what is the impact of West Hartford reservoirs on local ecosystems and biota, and how are these impacts indicative of humanity's greater entrance into the Anthropocene? So obviously, the supply of easy-to-access water is crucial for humans' everyday life, for showering, for drinking, for gardening, and so the goal of reservoirs is to store water. In an attempt to do this, damming or blocking the rivers the reservoir will be constructed on as necessary. This image comes from Dr. Thorsten's course book, and it is a picture of a natural river or stream that is dammed by beavers. The image shows a healthy river, which is often not the case once a reservoir is constructed. When rivers are dammed to this extent, especially the reservoirs in West Hartford, some areas which were previously terrestrial become submerged and then become aquatic. This displaces certain land species who are unable to adapt to the introduction of water. The composition of the water also experiences significant changes. Sedimentation is one of these changes. Sediment from upstream, where the water is moving and in constant circulation, accumulates in the reservoir, because a reservoir is essentially a standing and stagnant pool. In the Mississippi River, which is a great example, this accumulation actually causes avulsions, which is when a river blocks its own flow, causing it to jump its existing banks and carve out a new path to the sea. Although West Hartford reservoirs generally do not experience avulsions because they're smaller than what's the river in Mississippi, sedimentation still limits the amount of clean water and changes the composition of the water. However, the most notable impact of West Hartford reservoirs is eutrophication. Since reservoirs are stagnant bodies of water, whatever runoff goes into them stays in them unless they are cleaned. This can lead to the accumulation of nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus from agricultural and suburban runoff. Eutrophication depletes oxygen levels, forcing aquatic animals and plants living there to move or die. In fact, the loss of up to 60% of coral biodiversity by eutrophication has been observed in parts of Indonesia. In Australia and North America, complete communities of vascular plant species have disappeared due to the competitive effects of eutrophication. Eutrophication is harmful across the world, and West Hartford is no exception, and unfortunately, it is an almost inevitable consequence of constructing a reservoir. This image, also from Dr. Thorsten's book, shows a river suffering eutrophication. In comparison to the previous picture, it is clear that this river is not healthy and is not doing well. The migration of animals is yet another impact of reservoirs. Migration leads to an increase in invasive species and the loss of native species. Any forced movement of animals from their natural habitat to a new, unnatural one is intimately linked with the local extirpation of native species, which has the net effect of homogenizing the world's biota and depleting global biodiversity. Native species, unable to adjust to the new water quality, migrate, and invasive species, many introduced by water systems leading into the reservoir, thrive in the new environment. Bodies of water are specific and purposeful. They have been carved out over millions of years and are not made to be overhauled in the span of a few months or years. This is exemplified in Venice, where rivers have been manipulated to an extreme in the pursuit of urbanization. The image shows the rivers which were diverted by the Venice government. This diversion had profound impacts on the geomorphological and ecological equilibrium. The Anthropocene is marked by human impact. Reservoirs are a human invention, and the impact of reservoirs on surrounding ecosystems is significant. The control of water systems, such as rivers and aquifers, were often considered the holy grail of human ingenuity because water is such a crucial resource to humans. However, our same inventions will have a longevity that will surpass us and echo deep into the future. That longevity frames our control of water systems, and there is no better example than reservoirs as a marker of the Anthropocene. The translocation of animals, mass movement of sediments, construction of artificial dams, and the fundamental alteration of water are changes which are not temporary, but rather change the composition of the earth. The impact of reservoirs is great. The construction of them usher in a variety of changes in ecosystems which affect animals, plants, and the quality of water. Nearly all of these changes are harmful to the local biota and are not easily undone. The depth and scale of these changes lead to the firm conclusion that human manipulation of water systems is not water under the bridge, and rather a marker that humans have entered a new epoch. Thank you.